Welcome to Cascade Sports. This is Coach Randy Ferris bringing you the Coaches Show on Cascade Sports, where we cover all 94 feet. We have the pleasure tonight to have the guest of Blake Little from Lee Summit High School. He's been the head coach there and has been in the Lee Summit School District for many years. The first question I want to ask you, Coach Little, is you're also a graduate of Missouri University, where they talk about the true sons are the people that are Mizzou guys for life. Do you consider yourself a true son of the Lee Summit School District?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I think this is my 22nd year in the district, and it's my 11th year as the head coach at Lee Summit High School, and I would think so. I think, not to throw out my bona fides, but my grandma taught here, my mom graduated from here, and she taught here as well. And so I think Lee Summit's been very special to me, the community, and particularly the black and gold of Lee Summit High School.
And so, in all your years of experience here at Lee Summit, you've had a lot of changes, but in this last year, or actually 2 years, there have been gigantic changes to the physical structure of the school. Can you say something about that and how that has affected basketball?
Well, it's created a lot of opportunities to I think, kind of solve some problems, right? I think, every situation you're in, you're either creating opportunities that are challenges, and you can look at it that way, or you can create opportunities that are just opportunities to get better. The last 3 years have been tough. You throw COVID ahead of that, I don't think we've had all 3 of our gyms available in almost 4 years. There's constantly construction. We had doors even this last week that we didn't have access to because they were replacing them. So I think, it's one of those things you kind of just smile because it's always something new. And they've done a spectacular job at the building. It's striking when you walk in, and they're not done. I mean, they're still working on the field house. They're still working on a lot of places. So those opportunities to solve some problems are still in place for us.
Well, of course, you have all of the new shiny things that are going on. Say a little bit about how the field house, which is the largest venue for high school basketball in greater Kansas City, say a little bit about how the field house first came to be.
Well, the field house, I think was first under construction in 1963 and opened officially in 1965. It was kind of one of those things that built the community together or brought it together. One of the crazy things about it was that the framing for it is actually from Richard Gebauer. It was one of those things when NSC 63 came through and all that, and you were going through all the building of new planes and everything. They built a bigger plane. And so the superintendent of schools at the time was Dr. Campbell. And Dr. Campbell saw an opportunity to get some cheap steel framing. And so when you look at it, that's how it started. It was the frame of an aircraft, basically hangar, that they bricked up and made into a pretty great venue. I think we're in the process of doing some things to it to modernize it while still keeping the same sort of history and sort of feel to it. But a lot of big games in that gym been around since 1965, really. And there's probably not many gyms in the area that have seen as many big games as it has.
Yes, and I can't hear that story enough. I love it every time I hear you tell that story because it is just so iconic. That gym is iconic in the greater Kansas City area. Well, let's get on to players, and you've taken one step at a time with the group that you've got, and you feel like you're ready to take another step with this group.
I do. I think at the beginning of the year, you're always kind of looking around, right? Trying to figure out exactly what you have. You have the team that's in your mind, and you have the team that shows up to practice every day, right? And so we're still sorting through that a little bit. But no, I mean, I think last year for a team that had one returning varsity player, we finished with 12 wins. We were in overtime away from playing for district championship. In the second half of the season, we were a 500 team, and we bring back most of that team. We only have one senior this year, though, so it's a little weird in that we are still relatively young. And we have 2 sophomores that'll play a lot. The rest of the group is largely juniors, and then one senior player. And so I think, watching them come together and watching them improve, I think it's going to be a fun journey. You, Coach, you've been with me. We're not looking to be our best in December. The way we learn and process takes some time. And so, I just think this group has a chance to really grow and become a pretty good team by the end of the year.
Well, one thing that might figure into everyone's thinking about this year is the rule changes regarding fouls. in
Yeah.
MSHSAA, the Missouri State High School Athletic Association, or excuse me, Activities Association. Can you comment on the new quarter by quarter foul situation that's going to be in effect this year?
I think my initial reaction is I like it. I think teams that like to get up in pressure, I think it's actually a good thing. I think, sometimes you'd be in the bonus at the end of the first quarter and you'd be in the bonus the entire second quarter. So I think it gives teams a chance to really kind of have the opportunity to really, the teams that want to get up and press, I think have an opportunity to do so without as much penalty as before. I also think it's good for pace of play. I do think not being in the bonuses early in the quarters is a good thing. I don't know. I mean, the whole getting rid of the 1-and-1, I'm not necessarily. I joked with our kids the other day, just gives us a chance to miss 2 free throws instead of 1. But it's one of those things. Like, I don't know how that'll play out. That's probably the biggest change to me is just thinking about that. But I do like it. I do think it's probably good for the game. It's part of, I think, the gradual change that's coming to high school basketball. You have that. We have the new inbound positioning in the front court based upon dead balls, which now there's only 4 spots to throw it in on a dead ball as opposed to near point of nearest location. And then, I think we're moving towards a shot clock. I mean, I think that's what's coming. We're just not there yet, but this is all sort of that process that's coming down the line. National Federation made these moves without really talking to any of the high schools. And I think once the National Federation decides to do something, it's coming, whether you want it or not. So I think this is kind of one of those trial balloons for that.
Well, as an old press coach myself, I was laughing because you get 16 fouls with no penalty. So, you can get after it with this.
Yeah, it's gonna change the game. No, we've talked about it a lot. Like we want to be aggressive. I just think it gives you a chance, particularly when it resets in the second quarter. That's a big deal. I mean, we've had some teams where you've been in the bonus the whole quarter.
Well, do you think their intention was to clean up physical play inside? Do you think it will help?
No, that's nothing to do with that. No, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
No,
this is totally a pace of play type thing, right? Isn't it? Like I can't just tell me it's pace of play. Tell me it's Major League Baseball. We're on a clock here. No, I don't. There's no way. We're still going to box out. Like I don't understand. That's an absurd argument.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they just keep reaching and trying to find ways to improve things, and maybe it's good instead of just standing pat. Just try new things. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the successful players you've had going both college and pro basketball and in other sports. So comment a little bit about some of your grads that are being really successful on other levels right now.
Yeah. Well, I've been very lucky. You know how it is as a coach, you're only as good as your players, and I think that's it. I think coaches recognize other coaches' abilities to coach regardless of players. But for the most part, you're only going to be as good, or your best teams are going to be against your players. I've been very fortunate since I've been here now 11 years to have some really, really talented players. The two that probably come to mind the most when it comes to just post high school success, you've got Drew Lock, with the Seattle Seahawks, and Felix Anudike Uzama with the Chiefs. And that's pretty special when you have NFL players playing high school basketball. I think it's a great testament to them as young men. I think it also speaks greatly to the culture of Lee Summit High School, which does value very much kids playing multiple sports, the ability to work together. So I think have that really true high school experience. And they're both great young men, come from great families. Felix was in the gym last week. He came up there on a bye week. He was up to see us on Tuesday, hung out for most of practice, and he and I hung out for a half hour after practice, just catching up and all that. So just a great young man, just a great group of guys. From a basketball standpoint, again, had some really good players. Got right now our class that graduated 2 years ago. I think we got 5 guys playing college basketball out of that group. Obviously, Benassi, that you know so well down at Missouri S&T. Caden McGuire, I think, tips it off Thursday night at Jewel.
Well, they played 2 games in that crossover.
They've already
last weekend,
but they're gonna be at home on Thursday night or Wednesday night. It's Wednesday. I'm gonna try to go catch them on Wednesday. And then you've got Bryson LaRue over at Benedictine. You still got McDonald over at Baker, and you got Dallas Kramer.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.